Hola! Hey everyone, I hope you've been keeping safe and well. I know that it's been a while. I'm so sorry for the delay, if any of you had even noticed. Winter was kind of hectic for me, so I didn't really have the energy to make any content. Then I came to Spain and I said to myself that I would post more often, but things kind of got busy here as well. So I just need to stop beating myself up about it really, and just get it over with, right? So yes, I'm in Spain, Gran Canaria actually, which is in the Canary Islands, which is off the west coast of Africa. I arrived back in January, as I hate UK winters, and 2022 is no longer about suffering. It's about mental peace, health, well-being, and everything should be smooth and struggle-free and plain sailing, you know. So getting here was a hassle though, but nothing that should put anyone off of traveling. It's actually my fault. I got my vaccination pretty late, so I'm part of the vaccine hesitant gang. I only got it to travel. Honestly, I think I would have waited a little bit longer, but hey. So I left a pretty narrow window between my second jab and the 14-day immunization period. Well, exactly 14 days to be exact, which was so tight that I couldn't fill out the bloody SBTH form. Luckily, EasyJet allow you to rebook your flight, so I did just that. I amended the dates for my Airbnb and I got all of that sorted. So I've been here for nearly a month now, and I'm not gonna lie, it does feel a little bit longer. I've already forgotten what commuting and exorbitant travel fares feel like. So I'm staying in the south of the island and it's a lot warmer here. In comparison to the north where the capital city is, which is called Las Palmas, and it's been a really good experience so far, and I would travel for extended periods like this again, now that I've done it once. Would I come back to Gran Canaria, however? Perhaps I would stay in another town. There is Mas Palamas and Playa del Ingle, where the LGBT district is, which I visited when my friends came down to visit, which was so much fun. But demographically, if you're black or brown, you are going to stick out here. Where I'm staying, there's barely any black people, and the area itself mainly caters for white Europeans, specifically Scandinavian people, so people from like Finland and Norway and so forth. Even the menus are written in their language, but oh my gosh, let me tell you guys, these people cannot cook. So on my first day here, I went to the town centre to go and get something to eat. And the waiters wait outside trying to entice you to come in and eat at their restaurant. So I got chatting to some Moroccan guy, and there's me thinking, Moroccans, they can cook, right? Wrong. I didn't go there straight away, but after this misogynistic, or perhaps misogynistic encounter with this white guy that I had, I decided to go and try the Moroccan restaurant, and I regretted it. Bruv, I ordered just simple honey chicken wings and chips. Where was the honey? Like, there wasn't even any salt or pepper. I was just so disappointed, especially as the way that the guy was chatting, like, before I went into the restaurant, like, he was proper talking up his food, but then when I actually ate the chicken wings, they were just so disappointing. So I know that it's wrong to do this, but I did write off all of the restaurants in the area until further notice. Sorry, but not really. Especially as the area specifically caters to white Europeans. So I'm like, okay, they've made it clear who they're trying to attract here, and that's cool with me. And there is a nice Mexican place that I visited a few times when I went to the capital, and their food's really nice and they add spice, so it's really cool. Anyway, so remember I mentioned about my misogynistic sexist encounter. So I was walking around the like town center, and none of the restaurants were really standing out to me, but one of the white guys approaches me. I remember this is my first day, so I might not remember the exact conversation, but I remember he was just being friendly and asking me how long I was in Spain for, and just normal stuff. So then he goes on to ask what I do. So I said I work for a charity. And then he goes, working for a charity, dressed like that. So let me explain. I'm gonna see if I have like a photo of what I was wearing. It's just like a patterned long midi dress, like something simple, like simple dress. It's just like, what, I can't wear a summer dress on a summer's evening. Well, summer here, winter, It doesn't matter. Bruv, listen, so the way I was like, dressed like what? And then he goes, well, no one is going to be looking at your shoes, are they? Let me take my drink. Oh, sorry. So I go, they might, they're cute. And he even agreed, like he said that they're cute. And I'm not even gonna pretend, after that encounter, I was feeling a little self-conscious, like about the way that I dress. Because I'm someone who usually just wears whatever, and I take pride in how I look, and I never really cared about how I'm perceived. But him saying that really made me feel a bit uncomfortable. But nonsense side comments aside, Gran Canaria is like, it's kind of an odd place. It's kind of desolate. Like as in I think it's built into like a volcano or something, but don't hold me to that. But at the same time, it is really beautiful, and the scenery is just lush, like. But I do think the beaches are man-made, but I'm sure I'll add some clips when I'm editing this video. And it's also very affordable. My friends, when they came, they got tickets for about £27, I believe, but that was with Ryanair. But although I don't want to endorse Ryanair around here, because their CEO, he's a bit of a waste man, sorry. But the city centre is much more busy, but it is a lot more colder than where I'm staying. And obviously I'm here for the heat. And for accommodation, I wouldn't say that they're that affordable. I was lucky with the time of year that I booked, that I found a decent place on Airbnb. But when I checked prices more recently, I found that they're a bit more expensive. Although I'm checking in the south of the island, which is a good like 2-3 degrees warmer than the north, and that does make all of the difference. Like it's literally, in the past week it's gotten even warmer, so I think it's been around 23 or 24 degrees. So what's the temperature in London again? No, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, if you'd like me to make a separate video and where I talk about like moving here and stuff, let me know in the comment section. I might go ahead and make it. As much as I want to disassociate from UK politics, whilst I'm here, it's so difficult to stay away as the drama. Oh my days. Listen, yeah, it's literally like watching a reality TV, especially with the whole like Partygate scandal. Like the way that they're handling it is just pure entertainment. But to tell the truth, I don't really care too much about lockdown parties, whatever. Maybe it's because I've just been hearing about like the energy bills going up by like how much, especially at the same time that Shell just raked in £4.7 billion in the final quarter of last year. So, you know, and then now we have the Klarna Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, who's tried to offset these costs by offering people something that's essentially a loan to cover the cost of these, to cover the cost of the increase. So the fact that it has to be paid back over 5 years, like, I was gonna say that it's funny, but it's just far more sinister, because especially having you seen like how this increase so happened to coincide with the removal of most of the coronavirus restrictions, and they're doing this whole like back to office drive as well. And I know how freezing houses are as well, so this is really going to impact the poorest households, forcing them to make the choice between heating and eating, which should not be happening in the 5th richest country in the world, by the way. Like, Rishi Sunak is wrong for doing this, especially as on Wednesday the government voted in favour of a tax cut on bank profits. So it's really clear who Rishi Sunak is pandering to, and it's definitely not the working class. And it's even more cheeky as well, because landlords and Pret are suffering, yeah, because people aren't going back to the office, right? And they're working from home, as they should. So, and I'm not even really seeing the benefits of working from the office unless you're like a senior manager trying to avoid like childcare responsibilities, or you just want to spy on your employees. I find that the only people who actually want to work from the office don't have an expensive, time-consuming, complex, mentally and physically draining commute, or they're in a senior position, or they're a landlord who wants their rent. Anyway, this is a topic for another video. But another topic I saw doing the rounds was about salaries. Now, I tend to dislike this topic on Twitter, especially as everyone on there is like on 100K. So it's difficult to ground a conversation on people's lived reality. But I think someone asked if you could raise children on 30K in London. So I did check, and after tax, according to the salary calculator, it's £1,985.18 a month. And that's including student loan repayments of £20 a month. Now, I don't want to get too wrapped up into this conversation, as there's so many factors and variables that would determine if it's enough to raise children on. But I mean, is that one person earning 30K or two parents? Do they have a mortgage, which tends to be cheaper than rent? Or do they pay rent or live with their parents? Which I think changes the dynamic slightly. But what worried me more is a lot of people said that you couldn't. And let me tell you something, you can, and people do it on much, much less. When you consider the average salary in London is £39,000, people forget that just because it's the average, there's still a significant proportion of people who earn way below the average. And I think that we have to consider ethnicity and gender pay disparities as well. According to the ONS, by the way, I could only find data from 2019. I couldn't find any data from last year. Apologies. Actually, we're in 2022. No, so 2022, that's 2 years ago. But I couldn't find any more recent data. But on average, Black Africans earn £11.50 an hour, whilst Black Caribbeans earn £12 an hour. And in 2019, ethnic minority men earn 6.1% less than white men. Then when you factor in how Black and brown people are overrepresented in key worker roles that were on the front lines of the pandemic, who are grossly underpaid, overworked and underappreciated, it's pretty misguided to come out and say that it's impossible. If that's not your lived reality, then just stay silent and, stay silent in your privilege, innit? So yes, in London, it will be a struggle to raise a child on £1,900, but it's not impossible. And most of our parents raised us on much, much less. You have to forego many luxuries, I reckon. Designer clothes, you have to shop in Lidl or Iceland or Aldi, not Waitrose or Ocado or something. You'll most likely use public transportation to get to work, perhaps the night bus. You'll rely on family for childcare and so forth, or you'll use vouchers. And if you're working class or come from a low income household, a lot of the things that I'm talking about will probably sound familiar to you. It's not really that uncommon to have to forego certain things to have to get by. So when people say that it's impossible and you have to earn a crazy amount of ideally to raise a child in London, that's the thing, it's an ideal. So yes, I agree. Personally, I wouldn't want to raise a child in billionaire playground London unless money's like falling out of my ears and my bank account and stuff. Both the cost of living crisis and the COVID pandemic has shown how precarious our jobs and livelihoods are. So ensuring that you have enough if things go wrong are reasonable things to want to have in place before you go about having a child. However, the reality is wages are disgustingly low in this country, especially within the sectors where people that look like us are overrepresented. Hospitality, care work, nursing, cleaning, couriers, shop workers, there's so many other roles. Therefore, sometimes people don't have a choice but to raise their children on 30K or way less than that. And unfortunately, they don't have the same 24 hours as Molly May Thatcher professes, as 12 or 15 hours are spent being underpaid in a stressful role. So ideally, a higher salary would be great to raise a child, and I wish most people, the best, and I wish that most people would be able to earn loads and loads of money. But sometimes people have to open their eyes and look at the realities of the country, the low wages, the exorbitant rent, house prices, energy bills, travel costs, and so much more, especially if you come from a minority background, as it's more likely you were raised on a wage way below the average during the 90s as well. Wow, so you made it to the end. You're a real one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, go ahead, give it a like, leave a little comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe to my channel, innit? If you want to find out more about the logistics of me moving to Spain or just anything else, feel free to leave a comment below. And make sure that you're staying safe, and I'll see you next time. So You take care now. Bye.